The South African government has assured its citizens as well as visitors not to worry about terror threats at major events this weekend. A similar alert was released in Nigeria a few days ago by the U.S. Embassy. Joining us to discuss some of the dynamics around terror alerts is Bradley Steyn, who is a South African author, anti-apartheid activist and security expert. Thank you very much, Bradley, for availing yourself this afternoon. We'll get into the protocol of issuing terror alerts in a few moments, but in terms of South Africa itself, to your knowledge or to the intelligence available to you, are there cell groups that are operating in the country? Is there something that we need to look out for in terms of these kind of nefarious operations?
Yes. The short answer is yes. But firstly and foremostly, I just wanted to make it very clear that it's very important that fear and panic doesn't take over. That being said, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and through my resources, I've discovered that there's a lot of police activity out there, and what they are very busy doing with is spot checks, random checks and searches around Sandton, around major cities across South Africa. What was the NICC, which was the National Intelligence Coordinating Committee, it changes names depending who's the National Security Advisor or whatever their program is. But they've put a statement out that this rollout has happened, and I just wanted to say it's true, it's happening. Now, to answer your question, ISIS groups, groups linked to radical Islamic militant organizations do have cells operating in South Africa. I have that from credible former intelligence officers, and they do operate in South Africa. They've done their own form of attacks within the Islamic community, specifically up in KZN. There's a lot of activity coming through the Mozambican area, border. And then, the biggest concern that we need to have as South Africans is to be aware. If you see something, say something. If they are family members or people that you know of within your greater community that are acting in odd ways, this is what we call pre-incident indicators. Reach out to the law enforcement community, reach out to your security companies, report this stuff. It's very important.
What do you understand about the attraction? I beg your pardon, before we go there, you said it's true and it's happening. What's true? What's happening?
Well, that there's active terror cells that are set up across South Africa.
Sure, thank you for that. So, in terms of what you understand about what the attraction is for South Africa, what would make these groups or make them gravitate towards the country? It is often said that some of their activities are executed in the name of an ideal or an idea. So what would the idea or ideal against South Africa be?
The landscape is a poorest policed state. We have a big problem in this country where crime is rampant. Our borders are porous. The national security infrastructure in this country at the moment is a mess, while it has been since Jacob Zuma's reign. So that's what it boils down to. It's a good environment. You know, it's a great place for criminal syndicates to operate. It's also a great landscape for unfortunately acts of terror to potentially take.
For one government to issue a terror alert to its citizens that are based elsewhere or are being hosted by another government, what is it that they factor and they take into consideration? It's not just about their citizens, is it?
No, and you know, and I think that's why they've made the statement that they have, and in the way that they have, is because they want citizens of the United States, also citizens of South Africa, to be situationally aware. You know, our new generation of South Africans haven't quite had to deal with acts of terror. They deal with acts of crime all the time. But, you know, the older generation that lived through apartheid has seen plenty of that. And I think in order for the U.S. intelligence community to make such a blazant warning is because they want to cover all their bases and make sure that it doesn't just fall on deaf ears. Because if I was in a national security position, well, firstly, let me take a step back. It's very important to make sure that your intelligence is actionable and therefore credible in order for you to go and put a country and your citizens on alert like this. So, you know, and this is just my opinion, if I was in the national security position where I had to make the decision, do I share all my intelligence with the South African government, with Deputy President Deputy President Zodwa? You know, I'd feel very uncomfortable with that.
Thank you very much for availing yourself this afternoon. Bradley Steyn is a South African author, anti-apartheid activist and security expert.